Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. So, a few things I want to go over. First things first, the Siak situation. I went back and looked at the footage. This is definitely in the my bad category. I'm just gonna get started here. So what happened was, Britain actually declared um, their diplomatic play to puppet Siak before I declared mine. Um, and as a result of that, Siak basically was in two wars at once. So when I won my war to turn them into a protectorate, they just became their war with Great Britain turned into a transfer war. So not a bug, just a weird edge case. Um, Formation can't reach state. Hold on. Are you? Hold on. Where are you going? Hey, hey, got that out. Okay, hold on. You need to go here. All right. So we are going to do some more. Ooh, petit bourgeoisie liberal. Oh, that changes a lot of things. We are going to do some more stuff. I apparently now have a huge overflow of bureaucracy. Maybe because of modifiers. You've got administrative corruption decaying. Responsive governance. Oh. Are we in an election cycle right now, or are we just finished one? Okay, hold on. Right, this is the most I can get. I can get a little bit more legitimacy by booting out the trade unions and pulling in the Imperial Party. Do I want that? Probably. Answer probably. I've done most of the things the trade unions would like. I've got some capacity now. I don't want to... Let me see, how much am I paying in welfare? I'm paying quite a bit in unemployment benefits. That might have been a mistake on my part. I think I want to increase law enforcement. I would like to increase health system, but I think law enforcement's more important. I'm still getting a significant amount of turmoil in the nation. Other stuff will matter more. Better education, though, will be very good. Because I got better things for that in my... I got bonuses for that in my power block, and we'll have more soon. Power block progress is actually pretty good, because now I've got minor powers. Oh, I'm number 4. And I've got... How many minor powers have I got? Probably just... Joseon is an unrecognized regional power. Philippines... Philippines is a minor power. Alright, cool. And that's right, Java's a major, so I can't get them in yet. I do want to puppet... You guys going? Buddy, are you going? Are you doing the thing that you desire to do? Or that I desire you to do? Why are you grayed out? Okay, alright, they should be moving now. And they're moving. Alright, beautiful. So I think I am still going to annex Jambi and incorporate that into Asha. I think that's how you pronounce Asha. It's been a while. I should have checked again, but I'm silly and I'm silly and dumb and didn't do it. So you know, them's the breaks. Still suppressing the communist and socialist movements. They are marginal. Alright, so there's the fleet. So now, let's get this army added into the Imperial Guard. This is still maybe a little bit more manual management than I was hoping for, but I think it'll be fine. Alright, there they go. So now, I can go ahead. Let's see how it looks if I try to annex Jambi. Okay. Philippines might step up against me, which is interesting. What is my power block? Defensive cooperation is cannot start or join wars amongst power block members. So I think this should stop them from stepping in. If it doesn't, I might see what happens. I don't think Jambi has any kind of agreement with them or anything, though, so it shouldn't be a problem. I don't think that will matter. And it doesn't look like anyone else will step in Java could, but it wouldn't be the worst thing if I ended up in a war with Java. And I think I can afford a little war. So, here's the Snulf. Do they have... Okay, finally. We have unlocked the ability to station units in other places. So we'll just go ahead and put the Snulf in Brunei. We'll get that rolling. And once my fleet gets there, that should be fine. I don't think I'm going to need any additional force to make this happen. Jambi... Oh, Jambi actually has a little bit of an army. But what type of units do you have? 10 irregular, 4 skirmish, 3 mobile artillery, hussars. And then the other army, similar composition. I might need to do this. I could increase the size of the marine, of the Snulf. Oh, interesting. Can't recruit into a formation while it's being transported. Alright, so we need to get them going. So I might need to spend a little cash on that. I'm still chipping away at my interest. I'm doing a pretty good job. We're fiscal conservatism maxing right now. Construction sectors are rolling. Investment pool is depleted at this point, so construction has gone down, as you can see. But I think that's mostly okay. Let's keep an eye on our diplomatic play here. Now, the construction queue is not paused, it's just empty. So as soon as these units land, we'll go ahead and increase the size of the force here. Beautiful. So, Marines, let's just go with 5 and 5. Don't want to get too ambitious here. Obviously, it's going to cost a pile of money to train those. I know my army only gets bigger, never gets smaller. Let's go with the first fleet. Let's get you... Well, we do want you to come back because we don't necessarily want you to be costing the cash of being out in the field. Jambi has no fleet to speak of, so I'm not really... Not no fleet to speak of. Jambi has no fleet, so I'm not really worried about that. Now we're going to see if this force, as these barracks complete, if this force starts to fill in. I'm hoping it does. Alright, mobilizing. Very nice. Okay, so that is a little bit of maybe an exploit that you can train new armies of an army in the field and they'll get themselves there automatically. It's not... They've done a very good job of making sure that... Ooh. Jisha, theocrat leader. Ow! Those nerds. Stop wanting theocracy. Gosh, dang it. Alright, 2 arms. So, this was silly. Let's get the fleet back down here. Let me see. Want you to... Let's do a little bit of port bombardment. Okay, no, they're going. They're going. Alright. That should be fine. And as the week turns over, cash flow's still pretty rock solid here. I'm just waiting for this force to get a little bit stronger before, get a little bit more manpower flowing in before I do my naval invasion. I would like to have my full 25 battalions. Nothing bananas. Is this their capital, South Sumatra? South Sumatra is not the capital. It's actually, Jambi. Central Sumatra, I think, is this thing. And they're steel railway cars. Beautiful. So, let's go ahead and change up our production methods. Where are we here? Railways. I'm going to go fully into steam trains. I'm going to go fully into steel passenger carriages. That's going to increase the price of steel. And let's see how the market is impacted by that. Wood is still bananas expensive. I don't rightly know how I handle that. Hardwood, not so much. Steel's doing just fine though, so that's good. That's very good. Let's go ahead and grab a few. I should use the filter. I should use the tool that the developers provided me. Lessons from Victoria 3. Use tools. Let's go ahead and grab a few more of these places and go to prioritizing softwood, just so that we can have even development of our wood production. All right. So now, ooh, electric telegraph, nice. So now it is time. We've gotten up to 25K. Supplies are doing all right. Decent number of supply ships. Let's go ahead and get an invasion planned. We'll go directly into the capital. No reason to beat around the bush militarily. And as cash flow looks good, interest continues to drop, which I'm pretty pleased by. I would love to have treasury bonds, but I don't necessarily have the ability to do that. When's my next election? Next election is in 98, so I've got a little time before the change-up. Here's our naval invasion. Force comparison's pretty good. Not as good as I would have hoped, to be completely honest, but I still have pretty good confidence in my snulf. And my snulf to do as much snulfing as they desire. I think I'm going to be much more able to replace casualties compared to our enemies, so this shouldn't be too big of a deal. I think next I want to go after some countries in Southeast Asia. Maybe Cambodia, maybe Dainam. Dainam's a little weaker now, but so is Cambodia. Cambodia is a good target. Dainam's a little bit of a harder target. Siam as well, but Cambodia I could go after. And if I could get Cambodia, I could have a front with both Dainam and Siam. Ooh, gold depleted in North Borneo. Well, that's exciting because, ooh, speaking of excitement, we have got electrical generation unlocked, and I am going to go to town. I think, do I electrify the country immediately? I think maybe I do. I just realized I have quite a few states with no world market access, which is bananas. Also, there's a starvation problem in Hokoshinetsu. That is not great. I was not paying close enough attention to that. Could decrease autonomy of Tidor. Hold on. Everyone is below 25, but do I want to? What do I want to do in Tidor? Boy. Let me see. Oh, they're in traditionalism. Yep, I definitely need to reduce their autonomy. Tidor? You're a puppet now. Let's go ahead and reduce subject payments. It's going to barely affect my finances. And after that, we'll work on their government. So, we are making good progress. We got 50% progress here. And as we finish this battle, that gets us forward. So, let's go ahead and snag this fleet. We'll put them on project power in the let's use this, the Malay Sea, and that should generate involvement in Indochina. Let's actually make sure that it will. Where is it? Yes, here we go. Indochina. It is called Indochina. Yes, it is. Should be in here any second now. I'm going to let it go for the moment. The Great Train Smash. An enterprising entertainer has arranged for two aging locomotives to run into each other at a local fair. The resulting collision may pose a danger to the crowd, although that hasn't stopped Tokugawa Yoshitomi, leader of the daimyo, from declaring that he will have a front row seat at the event. For crying out loud, why? Why do you want to see a train crash so badly? Honestly, I believe that somewhere in the makeup of every normal person, myself included, there lurks a suppressed desire to smash things up. Everyone enjoy the spectacle. He becomes a little bit more popular, 90% chance we get 25% extra loyalists from political movements for 2 years, 10% chance 2% of pops become more radical and he dies, or forbid him from risking his life attending the event. No chance he dies, same chances of various modifiers, but the daimyo become unhappy. I'm going to do the first one. I think that's just fine. Did he die? He did not. I would have gotten a notification. He's still standing strong. So, I've got cash flow's looking pretty rock solid at this stage. So I think I can start building stuff again. Standard of living is going up. Let's take a quick look. I think I still need quite a bit more wood. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm going to create an even expansion of non-hardwood producing locations and hardwood producing locations, and we'll kind of go from there. These are both in Japan, right? These are Osaka and Shikoku. Yep. And then let's max out Hokoshinetsu. Right. I need to do something about the starvation in Hokoshinetsu. This is bad. This is extremely bad. Do we not have sufficient rice farms are running? Let's double the rice output. Livestock ranches look profitable, but cash flow is going down, which is a little bit weird. And then once this is done, I think we electrify the country. I think that's the play. That's the annex war goal completed. So now we hand that territory off to Aceh. Japanese North Sumatra. Is that here? Must be. It must be. Confirm. Yep. And then Japanese South Sumatra. And now Aceh is a little bit more united. Well, now Sumatra is a little bit more united. I've still got to get Siak away from the Brits, but that's a long-term project. Let's take a quick look at our interest. Formation can right, you guys, you don't need to exist anymore. The Snulf can stay there. So now, Indochina. Here we go. Here we go. I'm starting to... So I'm going to get to 2,700, which should be enough... Yes, which should be enough to go after countries there. Arbor discovered in the Moluccas. Interesting. Question is, do I go after Sulu to try to incorporate that territory into the Philippines? This is part of Luzon. These are Moro people. Heritage Insulindian, language Filipinic. As opposed to Lutz... Okay, hold on. What's the... Excuse me? Because my petite bourgeoisie became mad. That's what happened. Oh, I beefed it. I beefed it real bad. I was in a bonus and I wasn't thinking about it. Alright, I'm going to build a little bit more governing capacity. I always do this to myself. It's incredible. I'm going to build a little bit more governing capacity. And we're going to try to beat this thing. Let me just make sure I'm building in appropriate locations. I certainly am. We're going to try to get there. So, from here... You're good, right? You're not losing anything being standing around here? No, it doesn't appear so. Wow, cash flow is going really well. I don't rightly know... Chat, is this real? Law enforcement investment increasing. It is real. It is happening. My reserves are changing with respect to the same amount. I don't know what is going on here. But, oh, I think my trade unions stopped being so upset, and now everything in the country is running better. That's the only thing I can understand about this. Cool. So, I was building... I'm just going to do this using the button that crashes the game. Because that's my favorite way to go about things. Ooh, new method for tobacco plants, but not without electricity. Fine. It is what it is. Development buildings. Power plants. Let's... 1, 2... don't need to count. It's not a problem. Do I build them in Yuan Mosir? I think Yes. Do I build them in the Ryukyus? Yes. Do I electrify Korea? Yes. So that be that for now. I do appear to have some shortages in market access. So let's go ahead and build. So how much market access are we short here? Only a little bit. So we only need one railway here. Ooh, new soundtrack. Nice. We're 10 short here, so let's get one building. We're going to get 20 infrastructure out of that, so that should be fine. And then Ashanese, North Sumatra, we're short by 3, so we'll just go ahead and build there as well. I'm going to throw all of these at the top of the queue. Oh, that number was because I wasn't using all my construction capacity. Maybe. Maybe. No, it looks good. Well. I think I can fall back to middle taxes. Nice. Alright, I need to build a little bit more taxation capacity, a little bit more bureaucracy. Let's build it here in Tokai. Just get myself slightly over the line. Okay, actually, I might not need to do that. Let's go ahead and... Oh, I wonder if what caused that was losing all my obstinance. Maybe it was. Well, I think I can certainly afford. Okay, so that number is different, but that's okay. That's an okay number. I'm feeling pretty okay about that. I wonder if this is an investment pool transfer question. No, it isn't. Interest is almost completely done. I think that's what it was. I think it was obstinance from my numerous angry movements. Well, with cash flow being much more settled... Uh-oh. Nozu Sukanori has appeared in the Empire of Japan. He's a land reformer associated with the Heimin. He'll join the peasant movement. That's just fine with me. I'm completely okay with that. Couldn't be more okay with that. Glass shortage, not shocking. Furniture shortage, more shocking. Luxury furniture overage, pretty extreme. Let's subvene Let's take a quick look at our furniture industry. Because light industry is something I want to continue to expand. Wow, I really have very little furniture manufacturing. Okay, currently prioritizing non-luxury furniture would be more efficient. Let's go ahead and do that for some of my furniture plants. Okay, not for too many. And let's queue in a few levels here, and we'll also queue in some levels of clothing. Prioritizing non-luxury clothing still doesn't make economic sense. Let's continue. Let's build up 5 levels in Shigoku to provide a little bit more of that, and then Glassworks. Looks like we're still basically profitable. Let's go ahead and add a few more levels, shall we? Not too big of an expansion. Crisis in Paris. Oh. Well, would you look at this? A little red blob inside the blue blob. Blue blob is the name of France in European Universalis Forge. Discontent in the French Republic has led to the seizure of the city of Paris by revolutionaries. France is now split between 2 rival governments, that of Paris and that of Versailles. For those of you who do not know, Versailles is the seat of the kings of France. Now, this is a little bit weird because France is a republic right now, but, you know, I think that's just hard-coded. It was now midday, and the whole affair wore a most strange and incomprehensible aspect to one not brought up to making barricades. Instead of a government blocking every street, as was the case in the morning, a hostile cannon was now looking down every street. The Paris government has no leg to stand on, improves relations with France. French Republic could use a change in government, deteriorates relations with France, and the Paris Commune will be advantaged in its struggle against the French Republic, or we have no interest in this, deteriorates relations with the French Republic. I'm just going to say the new government has no leg to stand on. I'm doing a reactionary play, so that makes sense. Oh, the Ottoman Empire is being ripped in half by a revolt. How exciting. And it appears that the Russians are involved. Oh, no, it's just two separate wars the Russians are involved in. That's interesting. That's fun. Let's take a quick look at our involvement. Into China, we're getting there. 10% infamy cost. Do I wait? Let's take a look at what it's going to be infamy-wise to take Cambodia. Okay, don't have anything going on right now. 14.7, I can live with that. Mysore potentially getting involved, Java potentially getting involved, Chiang Mai and Luang Prabang. Interesting. I could potentially break off Celebes from Java and incorporate them into Tidor. Let's wait a little bit longer until this infamy goes away. It's just going to be a few months. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get up to the involvement I would like to be at in order to not have... I'm getting 27 a week. Alright, so I'm not going to get there. Ooh! Wonderful, a new mandate. 6 years for my next one. So if I go with Advanced Research 2, that's reduced bureaucracy costs for education, which is nice. And this provides reduced ahead of time penalty, which is not great, but puts us closer and closer to our max innovation investment. The other option is I increase defensive cooperation to 2, to reduce sway cost and impose same army model. I think we're still going to go with Advanced Research 2. That maximum investment is going to be really, really good long term. Oh my goodness. North Sumatra's in a really bad spot. Borneo's in pretty bad spots too, though. I should have looked at infrastructure in those areas sooner. That was a little bit of a swing and a miss on my part. What are you? Abolitionist revolt in the Shan states. Sadly, I cannot get involved. Qing lose to their modernists or no? No, certainly not. Alright, I'm going to unpause ship construction because I want to get these torpedo boats built. Hopefully that'll improve screening. Wow, that's significantly changed up my cash flow. So that's interesting. I'm spending actually quite a bit on ship construction. It only says 12K here, though, which is a little bit odd. I did increase the size of the government, but not that much. How is my cash flow changing this much? Oh, because it's shifting up the... It's the amount that the private sector is putting into the investment pool that keeps changing. I do think... How are things going in Akushinitsu? Okay, starvation solved. Do I have a starvation anywhere else? It doesn't appear so. Now I have a hardwood shortage, which is a little bit odd. Curious. Quite curious. Let's go to rural here. But I can go to electric sawmills eventually. So maybe I wait until I've electrified the country and then I start working on that. Alright. They're building electricity in Usha, which is nice. That's very good of them. Okay, let's see if this new naval unit incorporates correctly. And they do. Wonderful. Alright, that's my... I'm at about halfway there. I'm at 0 infamy. Let's get rolling with this Cambodia situation. 14.8. Nothing has changed. I don't think Dominion India is going to get involved. Lower than 50 it shouldn't. So let's get rolling here. They've said no, which is not shocking. We'll see who else gets involved. Now, what's this? A Johorian uprising against Great Britain. Another great train smash. Interesting. So this one, this is the same as the event we just had a little while ago. Nozu Masujiro, head of trade unions, is going to go. I'm going to say everyone enjoy the spectacle. If he wants to get himself killed, he can. He did not. Feeling pretty good about that. All right, now we should be at a little bit more. Yes, we're in a contested government now, which is better. Standard of living is better. I could spend a little bit more on slightly better healthcare. That might be worth it. The Sanriku earthquake. A great tidal wave has struck Tohoku, triggered by an earthquake off the Sanriku coast. In the wake of its devastating impact, monuments warning of future tsunamis have been suggested. Building monuments to the dead is not enough. Neither do the living need such reminders of the calamity visited upon them. Anyone who finds a message in stone will know that their ancestors were speaking to them something that must not be forgotten. These are monuments to those who are yet to be born. Interesting. We're getting a little bit of this is not a place of honor here. They need the monuments, reduced state construction efficiency, reduced tsunami harvest impact, 20% devastation, or we must focus efforts in the here and now. Reduced tsunami harvest devastation by a lot, but only for 2 years. I'm going to go with the first one. I think long-term thinking is the way to go here. Tokugawa Yoshikatsu, a magnate, has died. Java sides with Cambodia. Alright, beautiful. So, Mysore sides with Cambodia. Cool. Does Java have an army? They do. Very interesting. Alright, so I'm gonna... Oh, I should have mobilized this force. Let's go ahead and send the expeditionary force. Oh, interesting. There's a frontier as well. Curious. Alright. So, we'll deploy them to this front. And we'll use the fleet to get there. It's going to take them 2 goes through, but hopefully that'll be fine. Interesting. So this will delay us just a bit. I'm going to put the Snulf in place here to halt the advance of Javanese forces. I'm going to put them on defense for the time being, just while we get a force there. And do I add a siege for Kelebes? I think I do. Oh, interesting. Can I conquer it for... This is Brunei. This is Asha. This is Tidor. Alright, Kelebes. 24 infamy. It's not ideal. I'm going to wait a little bit longer before I do that. I'm just going to let my infamy decay a little bit. I don't want anyone else getting involved here because there are some countries that are a little close. Well, which countries would potentially get involved? So Mysore, I don't think you have any ability to really influence the situation, so I'm not really worried about that. Luang Prabang, you're not in the line of fire. Champasak, you are in the line of fire, but you don't have much of an army. I think I'm good. But what war goals could I add? Could liberate Bali, which is this area, or Bhutan, which is this area. I still think I'm going to conquer Kelebes for Tidor. I think that's going to be our goal. Our secondary goal, rather. Oh, interesting. This army has to... This fleet has to go all the way around to snag that strait. That's curious. So this fleet will end up needing to go all the way around this way? I think they might. Unless they can get around earlier. That's quite curious. I don't rightly know what to make of that. I don't think they're going to get there. So we'll see how they reroute as things go. Huh. Okay, Philippines declared neutrality. That's not ideal. Alright, so we'll add war goal. We'll do a conquer of Kelebes for Tidor. Or for, yeah, Columbus. Columbus, here we go. How much would Tonga and... Which places are these? Are these over here? These are the Sunda Isles. Where's Tonga? Eastern New Guinea, that's... Oh, weird. They're holding little bits of New Guinea over here. Well, curious. Anyway, I think Columbus is the place we're going to want. So we'll hit that. That makes me a little bit infamous, but hopefully shouldn't be too big of a deal. I can't make it primary. It's going to pause escalation for 5 days. We'll see if that's enough for me to... enough of a delay for me to sneak this unit in here. Interesting. This Javanese army is quite strong, actually. So we'll see what happens. What has Java been promised here? A return of East Borneo. Well, that's certainly not going to happen. And they're through the strait. So hopefully. And there's mutual funds. Exciting. Can I can't change that manually anymore. That's not a manual change anymore. It's in the laws. Almost a better law enforcement. And there's that. No battle kicked off yet. We're likely to lose our first battle, but I think once the first half of the expeditionary force gets here, we're good. And we have pan-nationalism spreading. There's law enforcement hitting level 3. Columbus is 50% occupied by Tidor, so that should be fine. Now we have a supply ship problem. So that's curious. Let's focus on constructing supply ships. I have to admit, I still don't really understand the way supply ships work. Why are there 2 fronts here now? Oh my goodness. Tidor has suffered a large modernist revolt. And there's military statistics. Alright, so now we have a battle rolling. And we are actually winning on defense. Let's put this army on defense for now. Because force comparison should be continuing to get better. Oh, we do have control of this strait. Haha, I was worried for nothing. I'm the best. I'm the best. Interesting. So... Britain. How could you? I thought we were friends. But we were not friends. What do you want? You want... Transfer Asha? But I've been building those guys up. Gosh dang it. Well, it seems there will be a diplomatic play. I can't think of any... I think I'm going to have to go for transfer of Siak. I mean, that's the... Of course, that goofs up my whole pattern here, because I need to annex them. But I think it's the most reasonable way to go about things. Here we go. 5.8 infamy, it's not that much. I feel very put out by this, Great Britain. Very put out indeed. I thought we were friends, and yet now we seem to be... Now I find myself defriended by you. Militarily defriended. Alright, well, one way or another, there will be a Battle of Sumatra. We'll go ahead and mobilize the rest of our forces. Do I want any additional war goals? I think the answer happens... Ooh. I could try and snag these territories. I'm getting really greedy now. Britain has a lot of strength, and I've got quite a bit of infamy. Are they involved in anything else right now? They are kind of involved in the Tidor thing. They have the ability to get involved in the Tidor thing. They've got a really large fleet here. I will need to put a force in this area, in Siak, to make sure this works out. This is going to be a real hairball. I wish I could transport units faster, but it doesn't seem like I can't. Tudor wants control over their own market. I have to decline for now. This might be the end of my control over Tidor, which would create a real hairball further down the road. Because I don't really have the ability right now to... Why do you have low organization? Why do you have low supply? Because of the shortage of supply ships. I don't know what this supply... there's something about this supply ship thing that I do not understand. Let's go ahead and expand our construction capacity, I guess. We should have... How close are we to finishing electrifying the country? We're nearly there. Do I have... I should have the ability to use more modern methods for this now, and that might help. Although, again, it would have helped more had I done it before the start of the war. Okay, yes, this I can do. Yet they just think they won't be profitable. It's fine. They're kidding. They're kidding. They're kidding. No, okay, we're on steamships right now. Okay. Some of these are having a hard time hiring, which is weird. Do I need to subsidize these again? Let's try it and see what that does. Who can I pull into this? Transfer a subject. That's an interesting idea, Philippines. Wait, do you have any ability to actually help with this? You do, at least a little bit. Let's sway with an obligation instead. I wonder if it's a mistake as the person with forces in the area to... Yeah, I think I need to produce more supply ships again. See, I have a hard time... I have a hard time figuring out this supply thing because it feels like supply is like so... It's like nothing until it's everything, you know? It's a little weird like that. All right. Let's increase the ones in Osaka and the ones in Shikoku. And we'll put those pretty much at the top. I'm going to close out all this light industry. I think the private sector can build that to the extent needed. Let's put the electrification of Korea below these in priority. Unfortunately, this is just needed for the war effort. Let's do the ones in Shikoku first, the ones in Osaka after. The Anti-Russian League has disbanded. That's curious. Let's put... So that's the Tidor Modernist rules. The natural solution. Members of the Imperial Party... Okay, we're in an election now. Members of the Imperial Party have loudly stated that the only way to lead us out of the Tidor Modernist Revolt versus Tidor War is to leave the government of our nation in their capable hands. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Not that we are a desperate measure, of course, but that's how the saying goes. The natural order of linguistics. To each their own. Ordo naturalis. We must play by those rules. And how could something be more natural than letting the Imperial Party lead us through war? They're truly the most capable people, extra momentum, and armed forces happier. Or military populism in my war. Academics more loyalist, officers and servicemen more radical, minus 30% momentum. Let's take a quick look at the election spread right now. Looks like the Constitutional Government Association, those are the conservatives. Oh, interesting. The Zaibatsu are part of them now. How curious. Okay, so I don't want the Imperial Party to have too much momentum, because I want it with the Constitutional Government Association. That's really weird. Interesting. They wouldn't be a very legitimate government, though, on account of the diversity of opinions. Let's I still think it's okay to give these fellas a little bit of momentum. I think Tidor might lose this. That would be okay. Mutually beneficial. Now that we have more publicly traded companies, we should focus on what comes next. I don't see the problem. What's wrong with more money? Are you telling me if they offered you more, you would say no? It's not about getting more money, it's about who is getting more money. The rich would get richer, it would appear. This might affect our politics, stronger Zaibatsu and trade unions, or maybe we can use this elsewhere, extra progress for international exchange standards. Let's affect the politics, shall we? I think I'm going to move my Snulf over to this front. 'Cause I think I might be able to get this front done pretty quickly. I don't know why they don't have any supply. I don't know why supply in Sumatra has to be done via this side. Does this spot have no port? It has a port. I don't get that. But hopefully we'll get there before the British, and that'll be just fine. That's right. Speaking on speech. Today's speech from Nozu Sukanori focuses on the right of assembly and the efforts of the Constitutional Party to secure it. A crowd has flocked from all corners to hear it. No true discussion may be had while the law binds us to silence. How is it that we may call ourselves great and enlightened whilst we fear reprisal from the law itself? And for what? Our very words? Great and enlightened? A falsehood, I say. A lie, a travesty, a shameful display. He has a point. Extra momentum for the Constitutional Party. Fetch the paper and ink, there's a lot of draft. Some momentum for the Constitutional Party. Extra radical movement, pop attraction, don't want that. Or, those who wish to speak should know how and when first. Reduce momentum for the Constitutional Party. Representative Heyman, Pops, and Kanto become more radical. I'm going to pick the third one, actually, because I want it to go the other way. Now, what's... Okay, that's the Cambodia situation. Alright, so Tidor is kind of... We're kind of beefed, but... British invading Kyoto. That's fine, I've got armies in the area. They're going for the jugular, but they haven't considered what it might mean if they were to themselves be jugged. Alright, we are moving forward despite our low organization. So I'm feeling pretty okay about that. I might be able to snag Siak and then just get the British to goof off. Yeah, Tidor is likely to increase autonomy. I think that simply is what it is, unfortunately. With the government having lost their war and me not really in a position to move any forces around to help, I think that just... Yeah, the only way, yeah. That situation's gonna be a situation. It simply is. We're losing on that side of the front, and yet... What does occupation look like? Okay, no occupation here, mostly no occupation here. Yeah, I guess the supply situation's too bad. I didn't realize the way supply would work over here, so this is partially on me. Indo-China tier decreased. That's fine. The popularity contest. All right, here we go. So now's our chance to help out the Constitutional Government Association. The eyes of the electorate have turned to the candidates that seek to acquire a position at the head of the government. As the election approaches, voters debate who would provide the best leadership for the Empire of Japan. I quite like Togo, mused one of the men at the bar. I couldn't say what it is I agree with him on, but I think he has a good head on his shoulders. His neighbor spoke up. Enough to look past the company he keeps? Well, why not? God knows you could say the same of any of us. Nobody's better to handle a fool than his friend. Togohei Hashiro is the man of the hour. Extra momentum for the Imperial Party. A term of Jutoku Yasuyoshi is what the country needs. Extra momentum for the Constitutional Party. Araki Shigeru has the character for the job. Extra momentum for the Society for Rebirth. Or Hachisuki Mochiaki is worth hearing out. Extra momentum for the Constitutional Government Association. Each of these options also increases the popularity of the character in question. I'm going to go with the fourth one. That'll put the government back in the hands of the conservatives, and that'll be just fine. Yeah, again, these units they don't have any organization. It looks like there's an army arriving here, so that's also unfortunate. Yeah, I guess my play for Sumatra might end up being a mistake. I'm gonna say no to you, Tidor. If they end up breaking away, they end up breaking away. Alright, Baltic provinces. Very well. Yeah, I guess I kind of mismanaged this one. That's on me. Swing and a miss on my part. Fifth Army should directly merge, and there they go. So, now. Alright, so here's the British Army coming up. Now, can I do something useful here? We'll raid supply lines here. Because that should mess up British supply here, and that would be easier for me. Actually, can I even do it in the Sea of Japan itself? Oh, wait. Actually, I should be able to naval invade. Okay, maybe the answer is... We are still moving ahead in Siak. Let's see if we can finish that out. Because if I can move ahead and... If I can pull a unit off and invade the Modernist Revolt, I can potentially win here, because the government can't lose until I capitulate. So if I can hold out against the British, and, you know, again, if I can get Siak, we are moving forward over here, generally. Okay, not in that battle, but in other battles, we have been moving forward. So if we can continue to do that, I might still be able to get what I want to get over here and have it not be a problem. Gosh, I can't believe this. Also, I got a shortage of hardwood because I'm building ships now. That's what happened. I'm like, why is my hardwood situation so bad? It's because of ship construction. Alright. That's... Alright, so we'll go to hardwood production, and that should sort of... Alright, there's the election. And here is our army. Now, is our government. Now, I could pull the army in and have an authoritarian. I don't necessarily desire that, though. Constitutional Government Association should be good. Alright, and I think I'm basically good with the way things are going right now. At least, militarily. We are winning on the ground here. Let's deploy an army here. Let's deploy both armies to here. Both the Imperial Guard and the National Defense Force. If we can win in Siak, we can go where we want to go. Big British fleet here. Alright, we're going to find out a little bit more about naval warfare here. We are successfully defending the home nation right now. I should have Japan fully electrified, so let's go to electric sawmills. That's certainly more profitable. And what if we go to focused hardwood production? That's also more profitable. Wonderful. Stock plantations, electric rollers. That's definitely more profitable. Stock electric fences. Hard to tell. Let's hold off for now. And let's snag... Oh, I have advanced training methods. Very nice. Urban centers are not here. Oh, I can do mass scale trading. That's definitely better. Urban centers. Electric streetlights. Here we go. Nah, it's good. You're doing great. I know it hurts. Don't stiff upper lip and all that. So these places think they would be better with hand. Well, you certainly think you'd be way better with hand assembly. Let's see if that's true. Okay. Okay, you're hiring, so that's good. What about you? Yeah, you'd be better. Don't downsize. Don't downsize. It's fine. You're doing fine. Okay. I think, unfortunately, I will probably lose down here in Asha. I'll be able to hold Asha. I'll be able to hold Azochi and Joseon, certainly, but not Asha. I may need to transfer an army to Joseon, however. Okay, I think maybe the answer here is... I think I need to pull an army back, because I need to make sure that I'm holding Joseon. Joseon is... If they get pulled out of my, my power block, that's a disaster. So... Yeah, so maybe that's... Yeah, I think this is just a fool's errand down here in Sumatra with no supply. So... Let's get the fleet moving over here. Obviously, this is going to take forever, but I don't really have another option here. So this is not my proudest moment militarily, but we're doing our best here. Okay, so now supply's a lot better. See, this I don't know how to account for. So the expeditionary force is using a lot less supply, and I don't know what to make of that. Is it because they're not in battle? Maybe. Where are you going? You're going here. So I'm not really sure what this fleet is doing. Well, I mean, that's not what you were supposed to be doing. Let's... Hello, can you do the thing? Okay, alright, so they just kind of went over there. It's not clear why. But that's okay. I'm not currently building. That's... Cash flow's a little bit confusing. I'm paying a lot in subsidies for these. Let's stop subsidizing the shipyards, I guess, for the moment. I still have a reserve. Okay, the southern Asha is fully occupied at this stage. These forces were forcibly transferred up here. Perhaps when we lose Asha, they'll just fall back to Japan. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know how that's going to go down. What is this? Hard to tell. Police brutality. The use of extreme force is becoming increasingly common among police officers in Kyushu. The working class and the socially conscious rally against the police as an institution. Scarcely a week passes by without their committing some offense which disgusts everybody but the magistrates. Boys are bruised by their ferocity, women insulted by their ruffianism, and that which brutality has done, perjury denies, and magisterial stupidity suffers to go unpunished. Police brutality is becoming one of our most venerated institutions. We cannot tolerate this behavior. Law enforcement -1 investment. Heyman intelligentsia happier. Or the use of force is warranted. Armed forces and petite bourgeoisie happier. 5% of lower certain pops and Q should become more radical. I'm going to go with the first one. I can put it back up if I need to, and I think I do. Although maybe healthcare is a better thing. That'll increase standard of living, which is more important. Because I'm having a real radicalism problem here. Alright, so we're losing a lot of supply ship. So this... I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know why sometimes things cost a bazillion supply ships and sometimes they don't. These numbers are a little bit curious. Some of these the Snulf is supplied again, which is a little weird. I don't rightly know what to make of that. Sumatra National Awakening Asha. It's not ideal. Boy, this fleet is slow. Alright, I fended off their naval invasion. So hopefully that's something at least. Yeah, and now we're just waiting for the fleet to transfer all the troops back to Japan. I'm really kicking myself for not building the modern ships, because I was hoping to have a lot more transport capacity, and I just didn't realize it was happening. That I was just building the old ones. Cambodia would accept a white peace, but I do still want to go after them. United Baltic provinces. Oh, they're a British protectorate. Interesting. Very interesting. Improve relations with France again. Peace deal proposed. Okay, so they're... Cambodia's going for white peace. See, I feel I can take Cambodia, fundamentally. I feel like if I can deal with the British situation, I'm going to lose Sumatra. I think that's simply the way of things. Okay, so they're transporting the expeditionary force out. Ooh, open hearth process. Excellent. It's probably going to make them unprofitable, but it is what it is. I'll need fewer of them total, and that's probably better. Do you want to go back to hand assembly? You certainly do. It is what it is. Cash flow continues to be a weird duck, despite everything. I'm paying a lot in mobilization costs right now. Alright, new naval invasion happening here. I'm not worried about that. I've got plenty of armies in the area. Now, Uzbek National Awakening, very cool. Now, is the expeditionary force improving in supply? It doesn't look like it. Britain. Would you agree to this? Looks like no. So I gotta get them down to 0 before that happens. So this is just gonna be a slog. I don't think there's any way around it. A good vintage. The wine produced in Hokoshinetsu has been lauded by sommeliers as outstanding. When people say that something ages like wine, they don't always make the distinction between wine and wine. So let me make that distinction. If you can get your hands on a bottle from Hokoshinetsu, that bottle can be more than just a good time. It can be an investment. Make this an exclusive product for export, increase prestige, or increase production to meet booming demand. Let's see what the wine market looks like right now. Wine is dirt cheap. Make it an exclusive product for export. North Africa, Western Europe, Southern Europe tier increased. That's interesting. I wonder if the war with Great Britain has caused that. Again, if I can simply hold out in this war, I can maybe have myself a situation. Javanese communist revolt. That's curious. Oh, weird. Okay, this is... They're still going for white peace. I'm still saying no. Because, again, I think I can win that once I'm done with this whole Britain situation. So, interesting. So, Java has gone communist at this point. It appears. Yeah, they're going Council Republic. Council Republic extraction economy. That's curious. Russia. You want investment rights for investment rights? I'm going to decline. Alright, and those troops are going to go there. So, do I spend cash? I don't think so. I think I keep construction where it's at. There's a certain amount of cash in the investment pool. Oh boy, the Red Scare. The rise of a communist regime in Java has spurred a sense of terror and mistrust across Japanese society. Many fear that the Empire of Japan will be the next to fall to communism. Every newspaper on the stand bore a title more extreme than the last. Shrill newsboys hawked them on corners, sending competing claims of atrocity and terror across the streets. Assassins and madmen claim power in Java, cried one of them. Recovered Red Bible reveals agenda of world revolutionists, shouts another. And amidst all of them marched 10,000 wide-open ears, soaking up each sensational word as they hurried along to their stations. It could happen here. 2% of upper-stardom pops become more loyalist, trade unions become weaker and unhappier. Or a panic will be wholly unwarranted. Everyone else gets pissed off and weaker. 2% of lower stardom pops become more loyalist. I'm going to pick the first one, clearly, because I'm doing a conservative run. And that simply is what it is. So, now we've got a Red Scare. This lasts for 10 years. The emergence of a powerful communist regime in a foreign country has aroused fears among certain segments of the population that the Empire of Japan will be the next to fall to communism. Domestic political currents with left-wing agendas have fallen under the scrutiny of anti-communist forces, as they're accused of being harbingers of bloody revolution and agents of foreign powers. Will fail if Japan has enacted Council Republic or any civil war in Japan is a revolution, with equal to or greater than 75% progress. If time runs out, triggers the event of subtle terror. So we just need to make sure that our socialist and communist movements don't pop off again. I don't think there's a penalty for failing this one. Okay, so here's a new British fleet showing up with more troops. But again, I'm not too concerned about that. I think that's the naval invasion here. And I think once this force gets to Joseon, they'll be okay. Yeah, so we seem to be progressing towards the end of events here. Again, I don't know what'll happen when these armies are defeated, but we'll see. Alright, so there's the naval invasion. Let's go ahead and send the National Defense Force to the front to deal with it. And do I send the Imperial Guard? I think yes. I think overwhelming force is the way to go when you're being naval invaded. Okay. So now this army's stationed here, and now their organization and supply are increasing. Alright, beautiful. Okay, so that's using a lot less supply capacity. So that's feeling better. Once again, Cambodia wants a white peace, which I'm going to ignore, because I don't wish it. Okay, so this is the moment, I think... Yeah, okay, so these armies have become exiled, and they're on their way back to Brunei. Interesting. So let's send this fleet to Brunei. That way they'll be able to transport them. Now, Britain We'll probably be happy with Asha once they've lost a few more battles, but there's still kind of... There's still weird naval garbo happening here. Yeah, so I guess the answer to this is if I want to go into a naval war with Great Britain and have any chance of success, I need to be a lot more equipped navally. I need to not just have kind of enough to put my units around. I need to be really able to win naval battles. So first things first, let's get the 5th Army to Korea. Fleet should get there in due time. Now I'm for sure winning this this naval confrontation here. Health investments up to level 3, so that should improve standard of living a little bit. And then we'll grab the Snulf, and we'll get them... The Snulf are doing okay. So what if the answer is now we try an invasion of the Moluccas to take out the Tidor Modernist revolt? This might be bananas. But let's see if it works. Uh-oh. Oh, they're invading the Philippines. That's not ideal. That's not ideal, but maybe we can make it work. And the expeditionary force is restored. The Snulf is not completely restored yet, but they're okay. And then we can grab this other territory here and get Tidor sorted out. Marching against peace. Protesters inspired by the fierce rhetoric of Date Muneatsu have carried out a march in Kyoto calling for military intervention against the communist regime in Java. What began as a few dozen shouting men in the streets swelled to a corpus numbering the thousands. What began as a peaceful demonstration grew to chants of fire and fury, all baying for blood. What began as a show of fear transformed into a call for action. Their demands were simple: tear out the Javanese menace no matter the cost. We must save the Javanese people from themselves, deteriorate its relations with Java, reduce war exhaustion from casualties, that could be good, increase radicals from political movements, 5% of lower stardom pops in Kyoto become more radical, extra maneuvers and diplomatic play, or the people's energies are best spent on something more constructive. Date Muneatsu loses popularity, 5% of upper stardom pops in Kyoto become more radical. I think having radical upper stardom pops is less worrisome than having radical lower stardom pops, so I'm going to do that. Alright, now we're going to see what goes on in Tidor. I might be able to fix up Tidor with a little bit of work. I'm going to improve relations with Tidor just to get their liberty desire a little bit more reasonable. They should... Yeah, they're pretty much maxed out, but they're maxed out because of market isolation. We'll be able to fix that longer term. What are they holding? Weird. Oh, I think their capital was pushed to Celebes because it's normally in the Moluccas. Alright, we're going to see how this invasion goes. This could be a whole kerfuffle, but we'll see. We are winning... The Philippines is winning this naval invasion here. We've defeated the British naval invasion once again. I really have insufficient fleets. Okay, British fleet invading Kyoto. That's okay. I'll be able to stop that from happening. Cash flow is getting worse. But that simply is what it is. Britain is losing war support at a decent clip. Again, as long as I can hold Joseon, I'll be fine. Like, I don't think they're going to invade Azochi in any way which is meaningful. And we are making good progress in our naval invasion here. Keep going, keep going. Yeah, you you get him, guy whose name disappeared as soon as I was about to say it. I think, unfortunately, hiking taxes might be the call here. Unfortunately. Yeah, you get him, Hayashi Mitsue. You can get him. Alright, I'm so good at stuff. That's Cambodia again. Oh boy, trench works. I love that. Let's upgrade all of our forces, shall we? Oh boy, trench works. Oh, this is gonna make my army so strong. Yeah, I'm losing a lot of supply ships here. But hopefully we can claw this back. Tudor Modernist revolts in default. Well, that's good. Yeah, get him. Okay, now what's this? Britain accepting a white peace, you say? Wow. I did it. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. Oh, I did it. Oh, I'm so good at video games. White peace with Britain. Heck yes. I fought them to a standstill. In what is generally referred to as a pro-gamer move, I fought them to a standstill. Okay. Devout scandal. It has been revealed that Okubo Kozo of the Jisha has been having a secret affair with a member of the clergy. His resignation is being demanded. The very fact that this sneaky bastard thought he could get away with such a gross misuse of his power shows everything wrong with the leadership of the Jisha. Oh, I'm so thirsty for my war with Britain. Force him to step down, he resigns in shame. Or let he who was without sin cast the first stone, he loses popularity. So he's 42. He's pretty popular, but if he lost a bunch of popularity, he would weaken the Jisha, and that would be good, except they're in the party that's ruling the government right now. Are the Zaibatsu going to stay there? They are. So maybe let's force him to step down. Let's see who we get. Okay, we got a new theocrat, so that doesn't really help. In fact, it made things worse. Oh no, that didn't make things worse. That's just the high taxes. Cause without a rebel. Although Nozu Sukenori is still fighting for his cause, no one is following him anymore. Despondent, Nozu has started publicly remarking that he may give up on his activism altogether. What's the point? Speakers when we have any speak to empty halls and in empty chairs. There's no crowds, no banners. If anyone pays attention at all, they never understand anything we're preaching. What reason is there to stay here? We're all stuck doing nothing. Perhaps he can find greener pastures elsewhere. He's exiled. Or no time for timidity. The movement needs drastic change. 33% chance the movement gets, and this is the peasant movement, gets stronger, weaker, or increased activism. I'm going to say he can find greener pastures elsewhere. Stop agitating. Alright, so at this stage, we're invading Tidor. Once we finish that, okay, I think I can safely demobilize the National Defense Force. So that should save me some money eventually. Once we hit the spring. Technical talents. Inspired by the prowess of French engineers and academics, the technically inspired Zaibatsu started to lobby in favor of closer ties with the French Republic. Well, that's exciting. Where am I, Maybe I don't have any lobbies right now. Well, by our standards, with the method they employ in their manufactories, they often find themselves saving half a man-hour per worker to produce the same amount we do. The building I toured had quite an innovative lighting system as well. Imagine, if you will, shifts being able to extend up to an hour more per day. His mustachioed compatriot was already pulling out a paper, drawing a line between disparate sets of calculations. When the two sums were placed next to each other, he let out a low whistle. We'll make great strides together, new pro-country lobbies created targeting the French Republic, or our creations far outstrip these cheap French toys. Saibatsu gets weaker. I'm going to do the first one. I think that's fine. We have a Japanese-French society. Now, before I forget, let's improve relations with Britain. I don't want to have to deal with that again. All right. So now we're holding Tidor's capital, and that's the end of the Tidor modernist revolt. So now this force goes here. So what else have we got? What are you? You guys are enemy fleets. So let's have you hit supply lines. Hold on. Can you assign multiple areas? You can! Oh, this is like Hearts of Iron 4. I understand. Alright, that should be good. So you deal with that, and these folks are going to take Kalebis, and that's going to be the end of that. Now, their organization is still super duper low. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I don't think the enemy's got anything over there. Red Revolution, yellow headlines. Newspapers sympathetic to the interests of the Jisha printed numerous stories about the revolutionary desires of communists in the Empire of Japan. The articles paint lurid pictures of strikes and planned terrorism. The Red Plague festers. Correspondents from across the world have reported the unnatural stirrings of a thought most foul, that man no longer be entitled to the sweat of his own brow, that many hard-working Javanese citizens no longer have natural rights to their property, and that their privacy may be no more than a fleeting desire. That thought is communism, and it is coming for everyone in the Empire of Japan. We must get the situation under control. 2% of Jisha become more loyalist, 10% stronger fascist and reactionary movements. Or we can't have a panic on our hands. Jisha weaker and angrier. Don't love pissing off the Jisha, but my reactionary and fascist movements are not. I don't have a fascist movement. We'll do the first one. Get some free loyalists out of that, and it's not really going to affect me. So, we should be pushing forward here in the Kalebis Islands. Alright, and now we've got a hold of Kalebis with no problems. So, this force is having a supply ship problem. Okay. Once they halt, what does that do? Well, we can go after these armies. Now, how's my... Okay, so... because I've got the expeditionary force here, I'm having a problem. So let's see if we can get a chance to shoot at these armies. Well, the fleet's short on supply, too. Let's get a chance to knock out these fleets and see how that goes. Ooh, pan-nationalism. And that gives me some extra authority, which will be really nice because I need some more consumption taxes. Let's hit fine art. We're very close on supply ships. The unequal calendars. Japan's centuries-old lunisolar calendar is increasingly out of sync with the Western world. Merchants have complained of difficulties in coordinating with foreign partners, whilst the populace has reported confusion over misaligned festivals, rents, and tax deadlines. I'm so thirsty. Couriers hurried through the streets, delivering message after message. People paused to read each notice, their heads spinning as dates shifted faster than they could follow. News traveled instantly, and the old calendar vanished almost overnight. Proceed with calendar reform immediately. For 5 years, reduced food industry's throughput, reduced tax collection, increased influence, increased tech spread for production for 10 years, intelligentsia happy, rural folk came in unhappy. Utilized the electric telegraph to expedite the changes. Penalties to influence tax collection. The penalty to tax collection and food industry throughput only lasts for 2 years. as does the Hayman being pissed off. And then, let me see. And then the influence bonus is the same. Or preserve the old system for now. Reduced influence, reduced trade advantage. Reduced state penalties from turmoil. Intelligentsia unhappy, Hayman happier. I'm going to use the electric telegraph to do this. This is available because I got the electric telegraph. And that's going to make things easier. Alright, so I think if to ungoof my supply... Well, first I should be able to... So you're raiding. You're raiding, so we should fight, right? Okay, there's a battle happening over here. Now, how can I... How am I losing this one? Their fleet's way smaller than mine. Okay, I think I need to be protecting supply lines in these two regions now. I think this is my force here. So did I lose... I think I only lost supply ships there. Okay, now we've got a battle rolling. Okay, so Nice. Alright, so I think I'm winning over here. Yeah, it looks like I'm winning over here. It's really hard to tell. I'm dealing a lot of critical hits to the central Java. It's really hard to... This is what? This is fleet hit points. This is a little bit hard to understand. I've got 11 ships in the battle, whereas they have 1 ship in the battle. I have 22 ships withdrawn, so that's good. White piece, okay. These guys are still out of supply. I think I demobilize this army here. And that should reduce their supply cost, which should put me in the black supply-wise. Still trying to figure out what's going on with this battle. I seem to be having a very hard time damaging the enemy fleets. Which is a little bit unusual. I felt like I had pretty substantially superior, at least fleet size to them. A very low, oh, because I have a supply shortage. Alright, here's what I need to do. I need to get the expeditionary force back home, and that's going to ungoober my supply, and then I should be alright. This fleet's moving very, very slowly now. While that's working, let's design our... gosh, they're back here. Let's design ourselves a new fleet. A new ship. New ship template. Alright, so... Okay, so we have some new ship designs. Let's build an iron frigate. I think... increased stowage is still the right call. Gosh, the engines... The better engine feels like it's very expensive. Steel output would be just fine. This is a little bit more artillery and iron output. That doesn't seem... This is a lot, but it's not that much. So let's create this. And then we'll do the same. We'll build ourselves a new... so the modern ironclad versus the coastal defense ship. Okay, so the modern ironclad costs a bunch more steel. Ah! Java's bailed out of the war. Wonderful. So now it's just us versus Cambodia. Now Cambodia has tried to humiliate us. They failed to do so. We're still up against Mysore, but we're not short on supply ships any longer. In fact, we're doing a lot better with half of the expeditionary force back in Japan. Okay, so that's good. So now the SNOF should be increasing in organization and supply again, which they are. 500 supply ships allocated to the SNOF. Okay. All right. I'm starting to understand this a little bit better. They once again want white peace, but I think I can take them. So let's take a look at their army. Yeah, they're still using a lot of regular forces. I think I can take them. I think I can take them. So, this fleet is increasing in organization now. And they were down from a supply shortage, but now they're filling back up. Okay. Alright, I'm slowly figuring out how this works. Let's add some iron frigates to this fleet. Okay, cash flow is once again doing much better. With us in a gold reserve, let's drop taxation down to Midland again. Alright, and that's due to these forces being demobilized. So from here, the question is, do I shoot? Now these are supply ships, right? I think they are. So, with this fleet's organization being significantly higher, and with us not being short on supply, let's protect supply lines here, and here. And now we'll see if we can get into a battle. Okay, so the second Mysore fleet is bailing out. This is them going after a supply ship of ours. But we should be able to deploy into battle now without a problem. And I'm sorry if I'm just so terrible at this, it's bananas, but I really feel like I am slowly improving. I'm at a pretty low baseline. I can afford my current level of mobilization basically indefinitely. So let's get back to building. Okay, now this fleet's going here. So let's get back to building. Let me see. We're very low on glass. We're low on munitions, which is interesting. I think we need to tariff imports of fine art. Glassworks. Let's go ahead and improve the size of the glassworks in Tokai, in Kyoto, in Tohoku, and do I build the ones up in Hokushinitsu as well? I think maybe. Let's do one more level for each. We'll get building some glass industry. Once that's done, we'll have a more accurate. I think we're crazy low in price on porcelain. Oh, actually, we're not. We're subvening the export of porcelain. We're exporting quite a bit of porcelain. Cash flow is doing okay. All right, so now all these fleets have left. Well, no, not this one. The first Cambodian fleet is still here, so we should be able to engage them in a fight. So let's take a look at this and see. We'll change up our protect. What if we go to interception? And then we'll remove. Efficiency 10%. Percent presence across 3 sea regions. Okay, so how do I... Okay, we'll unassign. Then we'll intercept just... We're 15% efficiency. Why? Scale by 15% presence. What does that mean? Okay, no, they're getting there. Okay, so they're increasing every week. Alright, so soon we should be able to go after and destroy this fleet. Kuroku Sukanori has appeared. He's going to support the peasant movement. Alright, very good. So pretty soon, we should be seeing a battle, right? I don't think so. But ultimately, I don't think it matters that much. Let's instead... Let's get our naval invasion going. This is where we need to be, naval invasion-wise. We need to get a naval invasion planned of. Let's go to Mekong and get that rolling. Now, are we building... Okay, now that this is set properly, the frigates are that we were telling the thing not to build were not being built, but now they are, because we told them to build them. So that should be fine. Do I demobilize my Imperial Guard? I think the answer might be yes. Now, how are things going with Tidor? Their Liberty Desire is going down at a good clip. I did start improving relations once again. So we'll leave them be for now. I don't want to get too involved. Okay. Asha is going to elected bureaucracy. Once again, Cambodia is trying to achieve a white peace, but here's the thing. I don't wish to achieve peace with you, Cambodia. I wish to achieve war with you, Cambodia. I wish to achieve so much war with you. And there's concrete dockyards. Unlocks modern port for port. Excellent. Let's go ahead and do that while I'm thinking about it. Or no, I can't do that because I don't have any oil. Where's oil? I think I don't have any oil. I have some oil. Is it mostly produced by whaling? It's mostly produced by whaling. Let's leave that be for now. Once I got pump jacks, we'll be in a better spot. Once I got the machine gun, I'll be doing much better militarily. And then I think it's time to change over to production. Let's take a second to do that. I need to get... Wow, I don't have Steam Donkey yet. Pathetic. It's the 20th century and I don't have Steam Donkey. Hurts, donut. Alright. We'll grab that. Reinforced concrete's going to spread to us. We'll grab vulcanization and aniline just to finish out the tier 3s. Then what do I want next? I think telephone to radio is a good call. Then electrical generation to electric railways. And I think steam turbine. Steam turbine's very good for power efficiency. Oil in Western New Guinea. Oh, wonderful. Unfortunately, we're not holding that much of Western New Guinea. Wait. Western New Guinea. Yes. Ha ha ha. Yes. Alright. Force comparison here looks pretty good. Let's see if I'm winning. Looks like it could be. Communist criminality. Rumors about the atrocities of communists in Java have reached the Japanese press, with reports about crimes against humanity and stacked corpses filling the front pages of newspapers. Did you hear the bombings the other day? This time it was a lawyer, one of the big ones, advising the government. Oh, another one? Heavens, that's the third time this month. This is supposed to be a safe country. Safe? Bah, not with these communist rats running around. They'll kill us all if we don't kneel down first. So, interesting. Sorry, I'm just refilling my water over here. Who knew that people could be so barbaric? Japanese relations toward Java deteriorates by 25%, 2% of upper starting pops become more loyalist, or they ought to publish something else for once, weaker daimyo. Japanese relations only 5. I'm going to go with the first one. Loyalists are generally good. It's good to have loyalty. I'm experiencing some significant shortages of construction efficiency from turmoil. I might need to increase the amount of policing, which would mean increasing the size of the government. I am winning in this battle here. And if I can win, that would be good. I haven't lost anything. I have made Tidor a little bit stronger. They're still an unrecognized power, but they're an unrecognized power. Speaking of power, is a stable supply of power. The recent expansion of the power plants in Osaka has inspired faith in a future where all of the Empire of Japan is electrified. Trapping the power of the roaring rivers and waterfalls may by transforming it to the power of a thunderstorm must be a sign that we are approaching the final stage of man's mastery over nature. Are we ready? Morally, intellectually, spiritually, it matters not. It is coming. Unlimited power! Extra power buildings throughput. Or there must be other ways to produce electricity. Free progress towards steam turbine. I'm going to go with the free progress towards steam turbine. How long have we been going here? We're an hour and a half. All right. How is there an army in... How is there a Korean army in Japan when Korea has no fleet? Let's demobilize the Imperial Guard. I don't think I need them mobilized. No, I'll keep them up for now. Alright, force comparison has gotten a lot better in Mekong. And I think after this battle, we should take the state. Or no, 50%. We're at 50% occupation. Hopefully we can do this. So, relations with Tidor have been better, but they're doing okay. We're cordial, and we're a little bit low on army power projection with respect to them, but we're doing okay. Speaking of which, how are we with Joseon? We're doing fine in terms of army power projection. A no tolls agreement with the Germans. They will not give me trade privileges for this. But can I get something else? Perhaps a little bit of cash? A little bit of cash money? They won't. So now why is... Tolls money transfer, diplomatic stance, maintenance cost. Okay. If we get rid of this, this is higher... The diplomatic stance modifier changes. Interesting. Yeah, that's okay with me, I guess. A little bit unintuitive, but it is what it is. And we are agreed. Where are you guys going? Should be projecting power. Production and agitation. I don't know what this number's about. In collaboration... Oh my goodness, we're back in an election cycle. So, let's take a look at the election. Constitutional Government Association is maintaining strong momentum, which is good. The Imperial Party's got a good amount of momentum as well. We'll see how it goes. In collaboration with the Society for Rebirth, Kuroki Sukanori has secured a deal for cheap and quickly distributed pamphlets in support of the party. The interior of the carriage held a pleasant surprise. A crate of several thousand pamphlets, printed on an industrial scale, each with instructions on the voting process and a cheaply copied logo of the Society for Rebirth. They made a hefty weight, and he hoped would turn out to be an equally sized benefit. So the Society for Rebirth is just the intelligentsia. They won't be able to faction up with the Constitutional Government Association. Bury our opponents in a sea of paper, 20% extra momentum for them. Or these connections can be used later, 10% momentum, and Sukanori, who's our land reformer in line with the intelligentsia, becomes ambitious. I'm going to pick the second one because I want to give them as little momentum as possible. Alright, our Marines have landed, and they are now taking the capital. So at long last, our adventurism in Cambodia has paid off. Which is exciting. Now, is this fleet going to merge into our primary fleet? Oh my goodness, we don't have an admiral. How could this have happened? This is what's going on. Oh my goodness. This might be more recent than I was thinking. Oh, right. Togohei Hachiro. He's got kidney stones. Those reduce offense and defense. I don't think it's good. Here's a different Togohei Hachiro. Hold on. Why do we have the same historical character twice? This is bananas. Okay, one of you is direct and is meticulous. The other has kidney stones and is wounded. Maybe he got wounded and then he turned into a different guy. Yamamoto Goniyoe, you're persistent and a traditionalist commander. Let's go with Heiichiro, the one who's chill. Alright, so we're still at insufficient command limit. Let's promote. To 30 command limit. Now, I can't see his command limit. Okay, it's here. So let's promote again. And that's good. So now we're at sufficient command limit. Alright. And we'll continue to move in here. Whew. My friends, that was difficult. That could have gone better. I could have handled that better. I think the answer is I definitely need to have more supply ships. To an extreme extent. Bread, butter, ballots. With the price of meat soaring across the country, the Constitutional Government Association is finding itself under relentless pressure from the opposition, accused of recklessly toying with the welfare of its citizens. High price of meat? Humbug! In my youth, we would make do with even less than what you have now for double the labor. These outrageous food prices are nothing more than the musings of hysterical housewives. They'll just have to find something else to eat then. Reduce momentum for the Constitutional Government Association. Or fund soup kitchens. A man with a full belly makes fewer mistakes. Cost the government some cash. I'm going to cost the government some cash. I think that's the most reasonable way to do this. I don't know why our cash flow is so rough right now. Again, it might be that armies that are not at fronts just caused a lot less in supplies to fund. I think that might be what the situation is. I think that might be what's going on. And that is the end of the war. Cambodia, my friends, let's be better friends. Snulf, let's return you to... Okay, so they need to go back to Japan now. Let's return you to Japan. So with our armies demobilized, we should be in a much better spot. Financially, but it doesn't seem like we are. Which is a little odd. I can't rightly reckon this. Maybe we will be once the fleet returns home. So there's reinforced concrete. That's good. How's the investment pool? Investment pool's looking good. Okay, one of our generals retired. Means the Imperial Guard needs a general now. Let me see. Already assigned recruitable. Tarichi Masatake. Colonial Administrator, Supply Requisitions Expert. That seems very good. On the other hand, well, this guy is an experienced offensive planner and innovative, but he's also aligns with the daimyo, whereas this guy aligns with the armed forces. Let's go with this guy. He's got plenty of command capacity. Let's roll this fleet in with the other fleet. Let's wait one more week and see how that changes our cash flow. Now, why is our cash flow suddenly so bad? Bolt action rifle. I know that I upgraded my units. Do these guys have a unit upgrade available as well? Doesn't seem like it. Do I need to hike taxes again? Maybe. Let's wait until after the election, but we were doing so well for a little while, and now we're just goofed again. It can't just be the taxes. Prejudiced employers. I knew people are having a hard time getting employed in Japanese azochi due to the prejudices of some Japanese employers. I went to apply for a warehouse job. They took one look at me and told me the job wasn't for my kind. Work is for everyone, reduced authority, or it's up to the boss to decide who they hire, minus 2 standard of living. I'm going to do the second one. Again, this is the population is next to nothing at this point. Yeah, 19 people. Sorry. It just isn't reasonable. Vice Admiral Togo has made public statements in support of the Imperial Party, bringing into question the political neutrality of the military. So this is the one who is direct and meticulous. It's my duty to defend the nation and its interests. Politics is as much a part of war as battles and logistics are. I don't see the problem with doing my duty and doing what I can to make sure those who are best fit to protect the nation end up being the ones in charge. Togo Heihachiro can say what he wants, extra momentum for the Imperial Party, or reprimand him. Good soldiers don't give orders, they take them. I'm going to go with the first one. I think that's good. So, Cambodia. Liberty Desire is going up from bad relations, but that won't be going for too much longer. So, we're not currently building anything. Do I need to reduce government wages? I think I might. I'm going to go to high taxes. Standard of living is good. Now this should improve this significantly. And it does. And there's our election. So 57% of the vote got to the Constitutional Association. And that's really all we can do. I can get a little bit more legitimacy by bringing in the Imperial Party, but I don't think that's useful. Gosh, I'm having a real legitimacy problem. And part of that's coming from the fact that I've got... It's got to be this. It's got to be... I don't know what it is. These two movements... Oh, I wonder if these two movements are producing tax waste from obstinance. Timed modifiers. Oh, right. No, this is from the conversion of the calendars. Yeah, this is from Clockwork Administration. So that's... Okay, so this isn't actually that bad. I can leave this at Midland for the time being. And I do want to get building, so I'm going to build. What do I need? I kind of desperately need to stop buying other countries' sugar. Do I have any ability to produce my own sugar? Not in Japan, but I can build it... Well, no, I can. I have sugar capacity in Kyushu. Alright. So, we'll build a lot of sugar plants in Kyushu. And that'll be very good. Oh my goodness. What are you? You're an Ashanese radical revolt. The Snolf needs a leader. Let's go with this Gaishi guy. He's an offensive planner and he's innovative. And we'll deploy you to the front. Now is this... Are we still going to have that weird... Nope, you got it there. Alright, that's... Oh, because Great Britain was able to close this strait. That's what's happening. Okay, identification documents, extra taxation capacity, that should be good. Now this should give us a little bit higher potential for home affairs, which would be nice. I would like to have that. Camera is spreading. Where are we with tech? We're working on the automatic machine gun now. Once we've got automatic machine guns, we'll be in a rock-solid state. I'm actually going to change up my tech path because I do need all of the tier 3s. But I think we're going to go to steam turbine first, and then radio second, and electric relays third. Because that'll help out our power situation. Obviously, we're spending a lot of money on these sugar plants, but it's important. Let's hit sugar with a massive import tariff. Cool. Alright, now our army's there. This fleet is moving back to... Oop. Nope, now they're on their way back. Alright, well, it is what it is. How much sugar are we using in our market? Quite a bit. We can also be producing more tea. Where do I have tea production capacity? In a lot of places in Japan, actually. And in Korea. Let's take a second to build up some... Ooh, and some in Borneo and such. Alright, let's queue in a little bit of investment in our subjects. There's that revolt. And then I think we'll probably throw a tariff on tea. Well, let's look at where sugar is now. Okay, we're still importing a significant amount of sugar. Our sugar... Do we need additional methods? Oh, we can definitely benefit from superior methods. Let's do it. Gosh, and also, golly, look at that. Tea plantations, no additional methods available. I suppose I could go to rail transport, but that wouldn't be effective. Alright, so these tea plantations are being built, and now let's throw in a few more in Japan proper and in Korea. Alright, that should be plenty of tea. Have I affected my sugar situation? I have indeed affected my sugar situation. How much more sugar do I need? In other words, how many I'm showing from trade centers? 480. How much does each sugar plantation produce on a level basis? 55. So I need about 9 more. Let's hit the button that crashes the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll build 8 and just let it be from there, and that'll be fine. We're spending a lot of cash. There's the end of the revolt. Let's move the Snulf back to Japan. Happily, these plantations build really, really fast. I am improving GDP significantly, which is also really, really good. Now... Joseon. Population of 2 million. Of 20 million, of which 2 million are peasants, 1.3 million are employed in industry. So I can't turn them into per capita taxation just yet. Let's switch up their hereditary bureaucrats. Because that's something that should change. Okay. Appointed's going to be a hard sell. But could we change them to elected? That's going to be a hard sell as well. Gosh. A very strong traditionalist movement. Can I turn Tidor into a national militia nation? Yes, but no one cares about that, so it's not really going to matter. Can I get them off traditionalism? No. Can I get them off local policing? No. Okay, Tidor's in a really bad spot in terms of their politics. So we're going to need to leave that be for now. What about Asha? Okay, they're going to elected bureaucrats. That's good. That's good. Cambodia, they're on fire, but things will be better when it's... I know it's not literal fire. It's the cold relations that are causing the problem. All right, we're at a good amount of screening, but I would love to have some modern capital ships in this fleet to help us win naval battles. maybe we'll leave that be for now. We're still building a lot of tea plantations. How are we... Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. The white émigrés, a stream of wealthy Javan émigrés fleeing the communist regime of Java, have sought shelter in the Empire of Japan, bringing with them tales of revolutionary terror and unbridled proletarian excess. The worst was these new secret police, just like the old ones. They would round up people they didn't like, usually when all was dark and quiet, sometimes the day, too. And if we ever saw liquor trucks going to their offices, well, we would never see our neighbors again. We had to get out. Very brave. We'll take good care of you here. Anything for Java's most upstanding citizens. Give them a platform to tell their stories. A character appears. Stronger socialist and communist movement attraction in Shikoku. Or a tragic procession, no character, double the socialist and communist movement attraction. Interesting. I'm going to go with the first one. I don't want stronger communist and socialist movement. So this is Muhammad Hasim Tajul. He is a traditionalist associated with the landowners. And he's Javan. Cool. Interesting. Very interesting. French-Japanese society demands action. The French-Japanese society has requested that we declare a rivalry with Great Britain. I don't want that. Great Britain is a known opponent of French interests. We must be as comprehensible as possible. Any other approach is irresponsible. British aggression is as old as the hills. Fear it may appear as if we're using our own nation as a piece on a chessboard for the sake of a foreign power. What would you say if pressed? A circumstantial alignment will not subordinate us. In this case, French interests just happen to be Japanese interests. It's as simple as that. We'll look into this, or this is not in our interest. I'm going to say this is not in our interest, but that's going to piss off my Zaibatsu. Let's talk, France. The Americans and the Mexicans are fighting. How about something? Give them no tolls for a defensive pact. How much money am I making in tolls right now? Nothing. Not a thing. Alright. 75% chance they say yes. I could throw in some cash. How much would 500 a week be worth? 4. 1,000. 9. 97% chance they say yes. It's hardly any money. Wonderful. And that should appease my my French-Japanese society. Yeah. Strike wave in Osaka. How about... Do we have a pact already, other than this one? Doesn't appear so. How about trade privileges? Can I get military assistance? Could I get a boat? Probably not. Can I get your biggest boat? So this is curious. So these are... What type of ship is this? I can't recognize them by... So these are modern ironclads. Well, it's an interesting option. Certainly is. Well. I think I'm going to go for this. Could I get my money back if I did this? No. That's curious. Alright. Let's do a trade deal. Hopefully that'll make my Zaibatsu happier. Strike wave in Osaka. A wave of workers' strikes inspired by the labor movement have racked industries in Osaka. Striking workers have joined protests in several cities across the region. The officer had expected the workers to be different than they were. Unwashed, stained with industrial effluvia, soaked in sweat. They were none of these things. They wore the same clothes as they would on weekends, fresh and clean. There was a pride in their eyes. Instead of the cowed expression of exhausted men, they stood defiant, their faces hard, their hands gripping signs that called for the world and more. Make it known that we recognize their demands. Osaka gets reduced manufacturing industries throughput. Reduced labor movement activism, but stronger trade unions. Don't like that. Or get them back to work. Trade unions much less happy, but manufacturing and worse strikes. 50% reduced throughput instead of 25%. I'm going to go with the first one. That's just fine. Our labor movement is not that strong either. Let me see. Alright, so tea plants are being built. Okay, sugar situation's good now. So I can cancel the rest of these. Oh my goodness. These sugar plantations. Now. Okay, so I can't move this force there yet because they're still being transported. But as soon as they're done being transported, they should be able to get there. So first things first, let's put this fleet. Let's merge these fleets. And let's get... Let's build a modern ironclad. Oop. No. Add template. Modern ironclad. 22 steel input versus a bunch of... So that's significant. I felt a lot like I need faster ships, so... But I think we'll go with the supply one. My grocery input's just fine. And I think I've got plenty of steel capacity, so... I think that's reasonable. Oh, there's a bunch of modifications I can add here. Patrol boats, extra wood input for increased blockade strength. Landing skiffs, extra wood input for naval invasion efficiency. Rangefinder, extra accuracy for iron input. That's very good. Fire suppression, reduced suffered hull damage. Expanded sickbay, reduced suffered crew damage. Torpedo nets, fabric input for reduced suffered critical chance. Wow. Our control system, extra radios input, can't do that. Advanced explosives, increased critical chance. Okay, so there's a lot of things I can add here. Let's add the landings. Okay, there's only one slot for this. Let's go with iron efficiency for rangefinders. I think that's reasonable. Right, so we'll create this template, and then we'll go to it. We'll add 5 of these. For our iron frigates, we'll add 5 more of these, and then for our torpedo craft, we'll add 5 more of these. That'll be fine. That's plenty of ship construction. So now, let's get you onto the front. Ship construction amount's relatively modest, but I could pause it and see how that. Well, 29k. How much am I paying in interest right now? 6k. It's almost nothing. How is the price of tea in the nation? It's pretty low, but demand is very... Okay, so let's throw our tariff in now. Tidor is likely to increase autonomy. Tidor, what's going on with you? But we're amicable. How can you defy me like this? Zaibatsu petitioned the government. Colonial exploitation. Representing its constituents in the Zaibatsu, Hachisuka Mochiaki has issued a formal petition to the Japanese government to pass colonial exploitation. One last matter for the day, sir. Members of your constituency arrived this morning. They're asking rather loudly and insistently if you would meet with them about new legislation. Huh, is that it? Gosh, you look like you've seen a ghost. Sure, I can spare the last hour's delight for them, can't I? I believe so, sir. They weren't taking no for an answer. Alright, we'll see what we can do. Every time I read this event, I try to make it sillier. The voice of the underling a little sillier. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna see what we can do because I've got to keep my legitimacy up. All right, well let's do it. Who's gonna be mad? Hey Min, it is what it is. I need my Zaibatsu to be pleased with me, so we'll just have to do it. All right, we're on the front. Things should be good. As long as... So, how much longer have I gotten here? This shouldn't be too long. My power projection's a little low for them, but... Maybe once I've got automatic machine gun, things will be better. How much rollover am I got from... I'm not getting any rollover from... Oh my gosh, I'm actually... No, I'm at my innovation cap, for sure. But I'm, like, right at my innovation cap. Uh-oh. Alright, Cambodia wants control over their own market. I'm going to say no. Unfortunately, this is going to set back relation improvement with them, which is unfortunate. It's going to keep their liberty desire going up. I need to offer them something. Eesh, that's so bad. Oh, because of market isolation. Well, hold on. I can actually solve this. They've got ports. What the heck? That's okay. It is what it is. It'll be sorted soon enough. I've got a new mandate. So let's go to Advanced Research 3. So this should increase my maximum. And indeed it does. Oh no, I'm not at my maximum. Okay, so I do need to build more universities. There's the war with the Cambodian Modernist Revolt popping off. I should be able to solve this with a minimum of fuss and nonsense. Fuss and or muss. Let's go ahead and hit the button that crashes the game, and we'll build some more universities, because I need some more universities. Let's see. We can do... Let's do... What if I just go with one level more in each region in Honshu? Each state in Honshu. And Shikoku, to bring them all up to an equal point with Kyushu. And then maybe... We have a lot of unemployment in the nation. Let's build an extra couple levels in Osaka and a couple extra levels in Shikoku. That should be fine. That should give us plenty of innovation. So, how is the fight going here? Force comparison is good, and we are winning here. Enemy's defense is pretty high. Mobilization options are all right. Let's put our armies to a chocolate input as well. Do I go to luxurious supplies? I think probably yes. This is going to make them significantly more expensive to run, but it also makes them significantly better. Did I goof my my whatevers? I don't know. Well, they're actually winning over here. This is gnarly. This is gnarly. I think I need to bring in an actual army to deal with this. Incredible. Alright. So that's going to take a little while, but hopefully that'll solve the problem. Alright, now... We should have... I'm hoping we have sufficient supply ships here. Okay, there's 286 in the pot. And if we don't transport the 5th army, this extra army that's sitting around here, if we just move these units, hopefully things will be good to go. I really thought our technological superiority here would be sufficient, but I guess these are only the Marines. The enemy force consists... Okay, so they do have skirmish infantry over here, but we're bringing in a bunch of trench infantry, so hopefully that should sort things out. Now, what if instead you don't transport that army, and you just dock in Cambodia for now? And then we should have sufficient supplies for the forces we've got over there, and that should allow us to win this no problem. All right, I think I got a plan together. Bureaucratic imbroglio, a stall event. Lawmakers working towards the enactment of colonial exploitation have found themselves mired in a particularly complex set of bureaucratic proceedings, grinding the work towards reform to a near halt. The fully developed bureaucratic apparatus compares with other organizations exactly as does the machine with non-mechanical modes of production. That is to say, the teeth of its industrial gears meet in a cord, or its gears will gnash and churn until it eventually breaks. Damn this labyrinthian legal system, reduce enactment success chance, increase enactment time, or cut through at least some of the red tape, reduce bureaucracy, increase enactment time, 10% of bureaucrats in Kyoto become more radical. I'm going to pick the second one. That's going to put me in a bureaucracy shortage again, but what else is new? Let's build up Kyushu and Hokoshinetsu next. Or not Hokoshinetsu, Kyushu and Shikoku. Again, this cash flow situation, very difficult to tell what's... I mean, I know it's the military, but... I don't know. I was doing really well for a while. I do have a lot of cheese in the investment pool right now, so I could halt construction and see how that affects my overall situation. Could also increase taxes, which I might want to do. The entrenched front. Heavy use of trenches in the Kampuchea by Hasagawa Yoshimichi has turned the land into a blasted hellscape. The stalemate cannot last forever, but it's not clear what the best way forward is. Have you been there in the trenches? It's less lonely than you'd think. You have friends everywhere. The rats will be with you every day and night, and even when your mates die, they'll stay right there with you, just below in the mud. You must entrench further in Kampuchea. Yoshimichi gets Trench Rat. Kampuchea gets Zone Rouge for increased mortality and reduced agriculture, ranch, and plantation throughput, plus devastation. 10% for all of those. Or we can't let our defenses stagnate. He doesn't become a Trench Rat. The penalty for Zone Rouge is 70%. It's only 5% devastation, but we get 60. We get a bunch of free progress on defensive depth. I'm going to go with that second one. I love my free progress, as you well know. Okay, I think the answer is once these universities are built, I stop building for a bit. And in fact, I think it's time. Joseon? Excellent. You've learned well. It is time for you to be a protectorate. Now they have diplomatic autonomy, and that's good. I want that. That is what I want. War propaganda spreading. That's okay. Could be worse. Could be better, but could be worse. Alright. Progress here is very good. Cambodia monitors revolts. Kampuchea is 25% occupied, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem whatsoever. Now, Cambodia is spiking in liberty desire due to an isolated market, but hopefully this war won't go on too much longer, and that will sort out that problem. Now, these are still good with the German Empire. Relations are good with Britain. Britain's cautious, but if we can get them up to amicable, maybe things will be better. Alright, and Philippines is going after Sulu. I think that's just fine. I don't have any progress to voting for colonial exploitation. That's good. I don't have any complaints about that. I don't like reading this event because I think it's gross. If you want to read it, you can read it. Let's just leave that. Let's leave that. That one's... I don't know what the writers were thinking when they wrote that event. Alright. So this ended that, and that is good. And that means Cambodia should no longer have an isolated market, which is the case. Alright, so they're still a little bit high in liberty desire, but hopefully, once cold relations is solved, we shouldn't have a problem. Let's bring the expeditionary force back to Japan. They're being transported by the fleet. We'll do the same with the Snulf later. Okay, we got a new leader of the No. Oh, hey, Min are big mad about this. That's tough. But it is what it is. We've got a lot of modernizers in control of the country. And that is good. Modernization is important for the long-term health of the nation. So I think once these universities are finished, we'll just go ahead and halt construction for a bit, and we'll see. That should put us in the black financially. I'm happy we're remaining at middle finances. How much are we paying in interest right now? 14K. Pretty tough. Pretty tough. We're paying about 30K in construction costs. So I could pause this to get our finances back under control if I wished. We're almost done with a new modern ironclad. And there we go. That's that built, which is nice. Shipyards are moderately efficient. Again, it seems like it's really hard to get these buildings to be profitable. So maybe the answer is they need to be reduced in size. Colonial enthusiasm. The news the government intends to pass colonial exploitation law has created great enthusiasm amongst those that are eager to exploit new and distant lands. Profit and adventure lie in wait for all those brave enough to embark with us. An untamed world awaits us, just waiting for us to deliver some good Japanese civilization. And if the natives object, make sure you have your rifle close at hand. Slow down, the law isn't signed yet. Extra enactment success chance. We'll take our rightful place on the world stage. Increased enactment time, increased enactment success chance, extra prestige. Or load the ships, we depart for distant shores, extra colony growth speed, extra enactment success chance. I'm just going to pick the first one. I want to get it done. This amount of prestige is probably not... Okay, hold on. It's probably not going to make that much of a difference. Yeah, we're trying to get up above Russia. We're at 1,500. We're ahead of the United States. We're ahead of France. Wow, France is really behind. Well, I guess Germany has become quite strong over time, particularly with them having subjugated Austria. There's automatic machine guns, so let's get those rolling for all of our armies. We're having another great train smash. Let's bring the snow foam as well. Let me see. Who's going there now? It's Shibayama Shigeto, leader of the Heimin. Everyone enjoy the spectacle. You didn't die. They almost never do. One day I'll find out what the gamble is. Alright, so let's go ahead and... Okay, so now these places are hiring, which is interesting. I'm not sure what to make of that. The one in Kanto is still going to be reduced in size, but the others look good to go. I still have a lot of nationally owned building levels. Am I not privatizing all my agriculture? I suppose I'm not privatizing my banana plantations. I just wanted a banana. Sorry, that's a Hearts of Iron 4 joke. Alright, so once these... What's the name of this song? Rokudan no Shibare Ichidan. I don't know what that means. Cool. We're still rocking number 6 in GDP. We're still below Russia. Our growth has not been as substantial as I should like. What if... I am slowly increasing the first fleets. There's colonial exploitation. That's fine. Oh god. This place isn't... No, they're incorporated. Alright, we're good. Oh, that gave me a level of... Jeepers. That sucks. Alright. Hold on. I've got to build a little bit more government capacity. At this rate, we're going to get there before we even have television, which is bananas. And by get there, I mean be at a point where we don't have shortages of taxation capacity, just because of the amount of government buildings we're building. We're so close with Cambodia. Once we get them off of cold relations, it'll be fine. How's Tidor going? Alright, Tidor is back to middle, which is just great. I'm totally pleased with that. No complaints there. Government admins are getting built. Now, Do I think I could take Dynam in a fight? Can I see what these armies consist of? I can only see their army power projection. What's my army power projection? 9.35k. Alright, so I could probably do it, but I would need a larger marine force. Let's go ahead and put the 5th Army back into the Expeditionary Force. Yes. Sure would. Alright, so that's sorted. When do I get better Marines? Let's take a quick look at the tech tree to see to find out. Interesting, there's a pre-dreadnought tech that lets me get armored cruiser and pre-dreadnought. Oh, interesting. So there's actually a lot of good stuff on sea lane strategies, which makes a certain degree of sense. Landing craft as assault marines. We are in tier 4. I could snag landing craft. That would be very good. You know what? Let's do it. And then we'll queue in the rest of the production stuff. So, what did I want? Steam donkey, pump jacks, threshing machines, vulcanization. Let's do vulcanization before threshing machines and see if we can get some spread in threshing machines. Then we're going to do steam turbine, radio, electric railways. Alright, should be fine. We're almost there with Cambodia. I'll be pleased if we can get there. China is still damaging relations with us, which I wish they wouldn't, but it is what it is. Malukan National Awakening, Calibus, very cool. Hey, Philippines, did you take over Sulu? Doesn't seem like you did. How is my mandate progress? It's not as good as I would like. It's about every 6 years. I don't love that. I would love to have a unified market. Having a unified market would be nice. Even though most of these countries are my subjects. Which means they're in my market by default. But not the Philippines. I would love to be in a market with the Philippines. This austerity is not helping me. Because I don't have enough income. Which is tough, because I would love to have more income. I guess the investment pool is building steadily. They definitely have the capacity for more construction. So let's get a little bit more construction capacity built. You have to be careful with this. But I think it's reasonable at this point. We'll build up 8 more levels of construction sector. Alright. The private sector is using all of that. Let's let a week go by to see how that changes their balance of cash flow. Okay. Alright, well that's still ramping up, so we'll give it a second. Alright. Okay, still increasing. Okay, they're spending at a good clip now. Nice. Continuing to increase. And their spending rate is continuing to go up. Okay, I may have gotten a little too aggressive. That might have been a mistake on my part. But I think it's still the right call. They're still building plenty of stuff that's needed in the country. In the face of the revolution. Policemen chasing rumors of an allegedly planned communist uprising in Okoshinetsu have stirred significant fear amongst the area's public. Local skeptics decried the disturbance as terrorism in itself. Not sure I understand, Superintendent. You want us to go into this block at the dead of night while everyone's asleep to raid this warehouse on suspicion that it might be a communist being place? That is exactly what I want you to do, Sergeant. Now, might I count on you to carry out this task, or shall I volunteer some men for you? If it doesn't materialize, then we'll have done our jobs. Okoshinetsu gets extra radicalism for discriminated pops, increased upper stardom pop loyalism, lower stardom pop radicalism, where there's no reason to believe this is credible. Petite bourgeoisie get pissed off. I'm going to have to go with the first one. The petite bourgeoisie are too powerful for that. paying 17k in interest. Brutal. Let's go to a higher level of taxation for a minute. That still puts us at a reasonably legitimate government. Investment pool is draining, but they've got plenty of capacity to continue to live at that level for a bit. What if I drop government wages for a bit? That should be fine. Pissed off at intelligentsia and petite bourgeoisie are a low enough price to pay. I suppose I could halt ship construction. But I do want to continue building. I need to get supply ships continuing to be built because I don't want to find myself in one of those supply situations. Alright, so Cambodia should now be going down in Liberty Desire, and they are. Lovely. Alright, perfect. We're in a good spot. Germany's going after the Netherlands. Oh, interesting. Netherlands has gone communist. So there's aniline. There's a big revolt in Hungary, a positivist revolt. Okay, so Siam is a British protectorate, so I need to go after Dainam sooner rather than later. Let's improve relations with them a little bit. Dealing in arms. The establishment of munitions plants in Nokoshinetsu ensures an abundant supply of ammunition for the Empire of Japan. I resent the term arms dealer. It implies that I'm no more than a cynical profiteer, benefiting from the suffering of my fellow man. Nothing could be further from the truth. What I do guarantees peace and security, not only in the Empire of Japan, but throughout the civilized world. If you want peace, prepare for war. Extra munitions plants throughput. Don't mind if I do. The thing about Dainam is they're kind of plagiarizing my logo here, and I think we can all agree that that's just not okay. Wow, Java is still a major. Golly, that's really impressive, I must say. Could I go after Yogyakarta? Helps your largely entirely Javan. Oh, but they have almost no population. All right, so that wouldn't be viable because those are not viable states by themselves. Okay, France is going after Touggourt. That's fine. So if Britain comes after us again, we'll have French assistance, and that'll help at least a little bit. Now, do the Germans also have an alliance with the Brits? They do. High taxation, which isn't that bad. We've had a lot of radicals this whole game, though, which is pretty tough. Camera unlocked. Excellent. Let's get the arts academies taking photos. Shabamzo. How's our arts? Could be producing more, to be honest. Captured light and shadow. The interest in photographic arts throughout the Empire of Japan has spawned many new artistic movements, experimenting with the technology. It can perhaps seem too harsh to capture reality as the human eye perceives it, without any of the love or mercy of the human heart softening the image. However, by moving the responsibility from the artist to the observer, we hope to make people more aware of the contents of their own hearts. This should be the new tool of reporters everywhere, increased text spread for society. It should be used to capture the beauty of the Empire of Japan, extra migration attraction. We should put the efforts towards making these pictures move, extra progress towards film. I'm just going to keep the first one. I don't need immigration because I'm not doing an immigration-based build, and yeah, things are text spread for society is good, and I don't and film I rarely find is profitable, frankly. Just to be completely honest. Ryukun National Awakening. Hopefully that doesn't cause any problems. What is my national fervor here? Japanese. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I've got a lot of academics. We get a lot more cash flow by going to proportional or graduated taxation. Wow. Let's do it. Yeah, Yeah, let's go to graduated taxation. I know this isn't exactly conservative, but I got a lot of modernists in my government, and that's going to make them happy, so let's do it. Plus, this might kick the knees out from under the communist and socialist movements, because they're all about graduated taxation. So that might help me in the long term against them as well. Because I sure would love to have some authority to play with, but I'm suppressing these movements really hard. Communist movement is causing some obstinance. Let's see how much. Oh gosh. Cambodian Socialist Revolt. Alright, so I gotta not goof around with this. I need the Expeditionary Force. What is this doing to my supply ship capacity? Okay, mostly okay. I find it very hard to figure out how much supply ships it takes. It definitely depends on distance, because when I had to go around Australia to get to over here, that was causing a major issue, but I think now I'm just good to go. Obviously, my level of mobilization for this army is very, very high, but that's okay. That's in line with its nature. How is the investment pool doing? The investment pool's doing okay. I can tolerate maybe a few more years of this kind of austerity before I need to get myself building again. Obviously, I would love to be building myself, but oh, I've got better methods here. Recoil mechanisms and... How do we get to muskets for our arms industries? Bananas, get out of here. That's quite curious. I genuinely don't know what to make of that. Maybe... Oh, maybe it was because of the revolt. Something like that. So the arts academies to privatize. Arts academies are profitable. Let's build a few more, because art is very expensive in our market. And could be less expensive. Arts academies build pretty fast, even though construction capacity is a little dire. Oh my goodness, there's a situation going on in Tidor as well. Alright, we'll move this force down there, and then we'll... Actually, no. We'll move this force to Tidor. So this is the leftover amount of the... Law progressive drafting. Wonderful. This is the leftover amount of the ones that I transported to Cambodia. Looks like force comparison here is rock solid, so I'm not too worried. It looks like they got Mekong this time, and we got Kampuchea. So, and Mekong is a little bit less impressive than is less. I'm talking out my ass here. I should. Yeah, GDP of 813K versus 1.89K in Kampuchea. So that should be why that is. Now, are you still going down in Liberty Desire? You certainly are. Game's rolling a little bit slowly. There's that revolt popping off. Now this army, once they're here, should be... Wow, quite a bit of enemies. And a decent army as well. Interesting. Well, hopefully we'll be able to hold the line until the rest of the force finishes out the situation over here. This is a revolt in Pontianak, which shouldn't be... which I can safely not involve myself in. Let's advance. Sorry. That was dumb of me. I definitely could have been smarter about that. Alright, now we're moving forward. Let's hope this goes relatively quickly. It certainly seems as though it is, which is good. Yeah, there we go. We're definitely winning there. But now we're in a supply crunch. Why are we in a... Because these units are at fronts now. That's what the problem is. It's because these armies are now at fronts. They're using a lot more supply. And that's... So they're using supply from their stockpiles. Yep. There's the Tidor Abolitionist Revolt. Alright. Coalition coupons. Oh my goodness, we're in an election. How's it looking? Could be better, to be completely honest. Okay, alright. Parties have broken up a little bit. Constitutional Party are the Intelligentsia, Trade Unions, and Hey Min. So that's a coalition that could function. I would need to make some changes because the Hey Min would be big mad, but that's a coalition that could function. 50% momentum, they got 25% momentum, so it's looking like they're up ahead here. Coalition coupons. With the Tidor Abolitionist Revolt versus Tidor War going well, the country is swept up in a frenzy of war. The sitting Constitutional Government Association has issued letters of endorsement to parliamentary candidates they feel support the war effort, drawing patriotic voters toward their cause. You didn't get the letter, huh? Go figure that coward, some spineless, good-for-nothing pacifist. Our boys are out there dying, and what does he do? Sits around shuffling stacks of paper, waiting for the opportune moment to squander the gains we paid for in blood. Now our men need somebody who fights for them as they fight for us. Rally around the party, I mean the flag. Extra mention for the Constitutional Government Association. Or are you for us or for our adversaries? Increased government interest group approval, reduced opposition interest group approval. I'm just going to go with the momentum. I don't want to mess with my opposition interest group approval, thank you. Cash flow is pretty tight, but I'm fighting 2 wars at once, so, you know, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. Progressive voting, wonderful. So that should improve things as well. It's going to be tight on my investment pool and no mistake, but it should be good. Alright, government appears to be winning here, so that's good. Let's go ahead and move this fleet into the main fleet. Authorial intent. A minor scandal has buzzed around the Constitutional Party as a piece of reformist fiction written by Kuroki Sukanori in his youth has begun to circulate once more. Whilst enthusiastically written, that is the work's only merit. The plague of superstition and dogma was the end of the Empire of Japan? If so, then why are the trains still running? How could they possibly have acquired the coal to fuel it? Your propensity to butcher your characters for cheap tragedy is nothing short of shameful, and to make matters worse, why would Kazuo ever lie about his status as a warrior when he knew that his friends needed a protector? Do you intend to slight the fearless spirit of the army? A tragic tale, but there's no reason to harass him, reduce momentum. Or this is Suganori's problem, not the party's. Not as much momentum reduction, but he loses some popularity. I'm going to pick the first one. I want to reduce their momentum. So that puts the Constitutional Government Association in a better spot. I'd love to get a stronger majority, but it is what it is. I don't know that that's necessarily going to get there. The Devil's Paintbrush. Major General Hasegawa Yoshimichi's use of dedicated machine gun teams in the Cambodian Socialist Revolt versus Cambodia War has yielded advantageous results on the field of battle, leaving full platoons of enemies dead before they've even reached our lines. If anyone told me that it would be possible to make a gun that would pull a cartridge belt into position, pull a loaded cartridge out of it, move it in front of the barrel, thrust it into the barrel, close the breech in a proper manner, cock the hammer, pull the trigger, fire off the cartridge, extract the empty shell, and throw it out of the mechanism, feed a new cartridge into position, and do all these things in a tenth of a second, I would not have believed it. Yet now I have seen it done with my own eyes. Whatever happens, we have got the Maxim gun and they have not. Extra defense for 2 years. Or, Hasegawa Yoshimichi's master of the tool is unparalleled. He becomes a stalwart defender forever. He's relatively young, 55. I'm going to give him Stalwart Defender, and that's going to be good. Alright, so... "75% occupation here in Cambodia. We're heading towards another battle. And pretty good force comparison here in the Moluccas. I don't have control over this. Maybe I should add a general? Alright, well that's the Cambodian situation sorted out. Let's move this force over to here via the main fleet, and that'll sort itself. Birds of a feather. Muhammad _ Haisim Tajul and Togo Shichiro were spotted in discussions about the coming election. Preachers the next day were extolling the virtues of the Constitutional Government Association. The first estate and the second estate hand in hand since the oldest glories of imperium. A more modern appellation of the holy marriage is hearts and minds, a glorious leader to capture their hearts, and a magnificent god to occupy their minds. The Jisha are beyond our reach, 30% momentum for the Constitutional Government Association, or let's hope they don't decide the election. 10% momentum and increase the strength, political strength from votes for clergymen. I'm just going to go with the first one. Extra momentum is good for the Constitutional Association. So that gives them a pretty solid number there. This force comparison has gotten worse, but we're bringing in another army, and that should improve things. We still need to ensure that sufficient supply ships are available. We are building a lot of supply ships. A little bit of a bananas number, it seems like. Like 4 per week, but it is what it is. Overly enthusiastic partisans. Supporters of the Constitutional Government Association have gone beyond simply campaigning for their own party, harassing and sometimes physically attacking opposing partisans. I'm a simple party man, that's all. I know who I like, and I know who I don't like, and I know I want my people to win and their people to lose. Crackdown on the Constitutional Government Association activities. Reduce momentum for them by 10%. Or let them continue unmolested, weaker and pissed off intelligentsia. Let's go with the second one. It should further solidify the conservative hold over the government. Excellent. Still probably couldn't win a fight with China, which is an interesting state of affairs to be in. And there's graduated taxation. So that's significantly improved my cash flow. The Defender of Decency. Tidor has fallen to a revolution amongst the armed forces. In the campaign materials of the Constitutional Government Association, Kujo Takeko has immediately denounced the armed forces here, preempting a similar revolt. You would name me a traitor? A traitor? Of that, I'm certain you are. Many abroad in Tidor would think similarly to you. What's to say you're not a traitor already, plotting sedition with the members of your book club? You've gone mad. Somebody must stand against this revolutionary tide. Pissed off armed forces, extra momentum for the Constitutional Government Association. Or Tidor is far away and this is here. Weaker and saltier petite bourgeoisie. Reduced momentum for the Constitutional Government Association. I'm actually going to pick the first one. I'm going to piss off my armed forces, but I think it's going to be worth it because... Why are the daimyo so mad? Oh, because they hate graduated taxation. Well, that makes sense. I suppose they would. Alright, so government forces are winning, but it's on defense. My army is on their way here. And that should be... So let me just... Once they arrive, we'll combine these armies again. And then... we should be in a better spot. There we go. And we're on offense here, so let's get rolling. Alright, so I think this is progressing on our side. Yes. Wonderful. That's also made cash flow better, and there's the election. So, we have a free reform, but legitimacy is pretty good. I'm at high taxation, but I can live with that. So that should be solid. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm going to win this war. Okay, so now we have a progressive party, and our progressive party consists of... nobody. Never mind. We don't have a progressive party. Curious. And there's landing craft. Beautiful. Alright, so let's get these Marines upgraded to Assault Marines. So Assault Marines are 30-40. Isn't bad. And I think, what's our transport capacity of this fleet? 39. So once they get a little bit higher, I think we'll add another 15 battalions to the Special Naval Landing Forces. Yeah, so assault marines are about the strength of trench infantry, all told. And we're making very good progress over here. Again, once our forces are demobilized, we should be in a much better spot financially. How is the investment pool? It's going okay. Investment pool doesn't seem to have been meaningfully affected too badly, so that should be just fine. Now, I'm thinking about, once we've got telephones, we might want to circle back to society, finish out the tier 3s, and snag central planning, because central planning will give us the production method that makes our government more efficient, and that might be really good. How are things going with Cambodia? They're going pretty well. Relations are still poor, but getting better. Relations are also pretty bad with Dainam. I think once I've upgraded my my Marines. Oh, I wonder if transport capacity is the sum of Marine and regular capacity. So I don't actually need to wait for these folks. Let's give it a shot. Let's try it. We'll do 5, 10, 15. Obviously, that's going to cost us a huge pile of money, but it'll also put more money in the investment pool, so that should also be fine. Interesting. Now they're short. But this shouldn't be too much longer. I think I made an error going to... Beautiful. I think I made an error going to luxurious supplies. I don't think I actually need that for most of the wars I'm going to be fighting around here. Let's go ahead and move these folks back to Japan. I think I'm going to turn off luxurious supplies for every army except my Marine force, my Snulf. Because they're going to need it. This fleet is frightfully slow, but I need to make sure that I got the necessary supply ships to support my armies if I send them abroad, which I am going to need to do because I'm Japan. You know, one of the historical mistakes that the Empire of Japan made, especially in World War II, was just going buck wild, not worrying about supply. And it turns out supply is just an enormous, you know, I'm exaggerating by saying not worrying about it, but there was, particularly in the Navy, one of the difficulties that Japan suffered from was a shortage of people who were interested in and willing to dedicate a lot of time and effort to logistics. And, you know, because logistics it's not prestigious, it's not exciting, it's not, you know, it's not a showy part of the war. There's, you know, there's not a great deal of honor in escorting ships to where they're going without the possibility of battle, right? Or without the likelihood of battle. But unfortunately, low likelihood of battle doesn't mean no likelihood of battle. And if there had been more willingness to, like, it's not just escorting. It's you know, it's how many of your sailors are being put into supply ships that are not meaningfully armed, but that are still a hugely important part of getting supplies to the front in a situation where you need to get supplies to a lot of different fronts in China, in Southeast Asia, or in Southeast Asia, in Indonesia, just a lot of different places. One of their failings overall. Interesting. I need to improve relations with Sulu in order to improve the cohesiveness of my power block. Alright, so my fleet's going to drop these units back off here, and are they going to go back for the other army? I think they should. I think if something changes, they might not, but... Okay, there they go. Alright, perfect. I've got a lot of old, weaker ships in this fleet, but I don't really know what to do with them. What? Fleets have mobilization effects? No, that can't be. Weird. So we're a little bit low in screening. Okay. Ah, and we have a crew shortage. Alright, so that's okay. Let's build some naval administration. Let's go with 5 here in Kyoto, 5 in Tohoku. And do I need more in Kanto? I don't think so. Now, what does the market need? We're a little bit short of meat. A little bit short of liquor. Let's get one of our food industries producing liquor. Not a lot of it, but we'll throw a tariff on liquor, and that should reduce supply, and that should make that food industry a little bit more productive. If we went to pot stills, it'd be better. What's the price of liquor look like now? It's just fine. Alright, perfect. Shortage of market integration here. Let's go ahead and build a railway. Let's actually look at market access across power block. Alright, looking basically good. A monument to the Emperor. A statue of Emperor Meiji was commissioned and it has been suggested to be displayed proudly in Tohoku. Innovative is how you would describe the look on the face of the statue when it smiles down on you. Eyes that flicker in the opposite direction of the sun, though maybe you are just imagining it. A monument worthy of the Emperor. Extra prestige, 2% of pops in Tohoku become more radical. Or perhaps not everyone wishes to be reminded of the Emperor. Pissed off daimyo. I'm going to go with the first one. I think that's reasonable. How are we doing? I am still spending a frightful amount on ship construction and a frightful amount on interest. But I do need to continue to increase the size of my fleet because I need to get modern ships into there. I've got a lot of very old ships, and whichever way forward. With the attitudes of the Zaibatsu toward the French Republic growing more apathetic, their leadership has begun to discuss reassessing the group's support for the Japanese-French society. It was more difficult to get appointments at the foreign ministry these days. The initial interest they had inspired had long since waned, the lobby's activities falling into Kyoto's background noise. The Zaibatsu were the first to lose interest, the representatives initially disheartened by an absence of news, then no longer inclined to read the papers when they arrived at all. What reason do we have to care for happenings in Lyon? Their younger members challenged. The elders did not know how to respond. Time for a change in course. They leave the Japanese-French Society, or why change something that works? They stay. Japanese-French Society just consists of... Yeah, okay. Time for a change in course. They leave, and that should get rid of my Japanese-French Society, which it did. Alright, beautiful. How am I doing in tech? Am I at my... I'm not at my innovation cap yet. Golly, that's bananas. I need to get more education. I do need my education. Golly. Alright, well, time to build some universities. There's the steam donkey. That gets me on towards pump jacks. Here we are. Just go up to level 8 in all areas. There's war propaganda. That's not bad. Where are we in military? We got pre-dreadnought spreading, which is pretty good. Modern ironclads are doing okay for me, but having dreadnoughts would be nice. It would be really, really nice to have wargaming, but I've actually got to knock out all my other tier 3s in production before I do that. In society, I'm really not moving very fast through tier 3, but that's mostly okay. My communist movement is all the way up to protesting. I've got another 2 years of the Red Scare before that falls apart. Wow, we're actually at 3 hours. I think I'll probably cut it at the middle of this year. We've made a lot of good progress. I even fought Great Britain to a standstill, which is pretty good. Things are going well with Cambodia. Things are going well with Tidor. In fact, let's start fixing up Tidor, shall we? Agrarianism can't get there. Wow, Tidor is really, really goofed. Huh. Nuclear option. They'll do it soon. Cool. Universal suffrage is one way to just throw the country into a civil war, but it will also completely depower the landowners, and that's, or not completely depower them, but it will significantly depower them. I still have a very high number of radicals, but I've got to keep the country functioning. My cash flow situation is pretty tough, and it's just, I gotta do it. I gotta have what I have. Whereas Indigenous extreme wins. Alright, well that shouldn't be too bad. Alright, so the university's building up. I should now have better innovation. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Would love to have a little bit of overflow in tech spread. Interesting. I didn't realize Old Ways... For some reason I thought Old Ways was only production tech. I'm not sure why I thought that. It might have been something that was so in a previous patch of the game. It might have been I just failed to remember. Again, if we can... I can't get rid of this by regime changing Java, which would be cool to do. It would be very conservative of me if I did that. And Cambodia is falling in Liberty Desire at a very healthy clip now. Again, I would like to get them down to a puppet so that I can be able to stage troops there to attack Dainam. But Dainam appears to be being puppeted by Great Britain, so we'll see what becomes of that. Unfortunately, it looks like Britain is winning, so this strategy may not have been the right call at all. Gosh. Improving relations with Sulu to get my power block cohesion up. And we're close to having another mandate in our power block. So, that, however, is all the time we've got for tonight's episode. My nerds, I have had a great time. I hope you all have had a great time as well, and I will see you all on the other side.